Thank you very much. Councilman McCauley is out of town on vacation. He's out of town, I don't know if it's vacation or not, I think it is, but family stuff anyway, so he won't be here with us today. We have two quick pieces of business before, and then we'll get to the library issue if you don't mind. Typically we start the meetings with a public comment period. I think most of this is going to be public comment, and so I'd like to take care of just two quick pieces of business first, and then we'll get on to the library board if you don't mind. First up, we have, we're expecting delivery on a new ambulance this Saturday, and we need to sign a lease purchase agreement. The town attorney, Eric Gustafson, had a question. He thought there was one part that was missing and wanted a correction. He has been communicating with the lease folks. They're going to make the correction and get it to him. So what I'd like to do is to approve this lease purchase agreement pending final sign-off by the town attorney. So
I move. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Everybody's familiar with it. We've been working on it for a while. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Abstention. Motion carries. Okay, thank you very much. Second piece of business, just formality. Don't really need to do it at a board meeting, but I thought we would. Dr. Neil Cicchetti has resigned his seat on the Massena Memorial Hospital Board of Managers. And I have asked Dr. Bedros Patrician to step in and there's typically one physician on the board, so to replace Dr. Cicchetti, I've asked Dr. Patrician to do that. He is willing to do it. Most of you are probably familiar with him. He's been in town for a long time and well respected, and I think will be a great addition to the board. It doesn't really need town board approval. It's a sole appointment by the supervisor, but I want to let everybody know that's going to happen, and he'll be hopefully attending his first meeting next week, I think. So I just want to let you know. And there's one other vacancy that just occurred, another resignation. So we'll be looking to fill that. And I've got a name in mind. I've had one suggested to me.
I've got a name also.
Anybody's got some names, get them to me, and we'll take a look. So. Okay. Without further ado.
Economic times, people are finding it hard to meet their financial obligations. As a business, don't let this hit your bottom line. CCI is your debt collection solution. We can assist you in your collection efforts and keep you on top of your game. Our skilled staff is persistent and efficient in getting the results that you need. For a free consultation, call 315-769-0031.
We are under construction.
And it's business as usual, Jamie.
We're building great deals right here at Frenchie's Chevrolet. How about this new 2012 Chevy Cruze LS that features a CD, MP3, 5-year 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, gets an estimated 36 miles per gallon highway, and much more. Right now, lease this one for 39 easy payments of just $257 a month. That's less than $9 a day. Chevy runs deep at Frenchie's Chevrolet.
255 East Service Street, Massena, New York.
Or FrenchieChevy.com.
I don't know.
I'll mow the lawn.
I'll walk the dog.
You need some help here?
Yes, we're thinking about getting a gaming system.
I'll do the laundry.
You know you can add on any system for just $9 more per week?
I hate saying this, but I will change the kitty litter.
And with no long-term commitments, you can bring it back and stop paying at any time.
Just in case they forget to change the kitty litter.
Huh.
Get to Rent-A-Center's summer sale and add on a video gaming system to any TV for just $9 more a week with no credit check and no long-term commitment.
We typically have, as I said at the beginning of our meetings, a 15-minute public comment period, and we allow anyone to speak on any topic. We usually limit it to 3 minutes each and ask that people speak only once. So I think we'll use those same rules today, if you don't mind. If somebody needs to revisit their comments, that's fine, but we'd like you to just rise, state your name, give your address for the record, so we'll know who's who. We probably know most of you, but it's always good to be reminded of putting a name to the face, and we have the address for the record. So I guess we'll start that. I don't think let me preface it by saying this. We took a rather dramatic step of closing the library, as you're all aware. I don't think any of us was really anticipating that until we got in the meeting and we started discussing things. The board made the unanimous decision to do that. We hope it'll be very short-lived, and we hope we'll make some progress on that today. We will have an executive session after this open session because we've got a number of people. We've got a pretty significant list of folks who are interested. Some who've contacted me or a member of the town board to say they're interested. Also, we've had names that have been referred to us by a third party saying, hey, yeah, look at so-and-so, he'd be a good library board member. So that is kind of where we are right now. And people have questioned why did we do what we did, and I put out a statement saying that. We weren't concerned. We felt that the best way to handle this situation, which is, as I said, kind of unprecedented, was to let's take a step back, let's close for a couple of days, and figure out where we're headed here, and how best to move the library forward. So, again, we hope to have some more direction in the next couple of days, and hopefully get the library open as quickly as possible. That's our goal. We're not casting aspersions on anybody. It's not that we suspect people or are suspicious of people. It's that we thought this was the best way to go, given the fact that there was no true management structure in place right as we speak right now. I was in the building last week. I signed off on the document and paperwork, to get some bills paid, which is fine. We wanted to take care of business as best we could, but in the bigger picture, we just thought it was best that we take a few days, try to get the library board back functioning as quickly as possible, and then they'll move forward with the process. And it is a process of selecting a new director. It's a civil service provision. There is civil service law to follow. There is a list that has to be hired, from which the successful candidate has to be hired. Those lists actually are about to expire. Don't worry about that. I've been told by the county. The county said that the one's expiring. I think one has already expired, a list for clerks. The second list is for director. It's set to expire next week. I spoke with the county civil service, with human resources of the county, and they said when the list expires, it's not a big deal. You ask for another list. We canvass the people that are on the list before and say, are you still interested? If they say yes, then we give you a new list. So it doesn't matter. It's not a matter of having to schedule a test and all that kind of thing. So when the list expires, I thought it was a bigger deal than it is, quite honestly, and I don't think it's that significant. And if we ask for another list, they can give us another list very quickly. So actually, I don't even know if I told the board that yet. I just found that out yesterday, so that's probably news to you guys as well. So, with that, I guess, do we have folks that want to speak? Sure. Somebody's got to be first.
My name is Carol Pelkey. Did you say what my address?
If you can, yeah, that'd be good.
4 Elgin Avenue, Massena. I would start with, I'm glad to hear the tone a little more quiet. I've only lived in this town for 9 years. I was out of the state for many years. For most of my career, I did not live in New York State. But recently, the level of rhetoric on all sides has been really harsh. I don't like that. I came here to be peaceable, and I hope that's what we can get. As for comments, I don't know how to approach that if I don't know what you're going to say or do. It's kind of hard to give my comments up front till I know what the outcome is going to be. That's very difficult to respond.
I think the desired outcome, if I can speak for the board, is that, again, that we get a new library board get a library board up to the level that it can function, which is more than one member, which is all we have now, and that then the library can be back in business, so to speak, because we would have some management in place with the library board. And then the library board, we want to meet with them and make sure they understand what we expect of the library board, but they can expect of us. They can ask us questions, and then they at some point will visit the idea of selecting a new director, a new library director.
I think if I could add to what the supervisor has just said, the closure of the library by the town board was an extraordinary act, but it was precipitated, it was brought about by extraordinary circumstances. The goal of the town board is to reconstitute the command structure, for lack of a better term, in the library, get someone in charge, okay, which is a process, as the supervisor said, as quickly as we possibly can, and return to normal. So,
I'm very concerned for the, I never worked at the library, never worked for the state of New York, my career has been in Michigan. But I am concerned that the civil servants are not going to be paid. I would be very upset if you closed my business down and said, you can't come in, but I'm also not going to pay you through no fault of mine that I'm not going to get paid. I understood, using my annual leave, I probably have plans for it, like everybody in the world does. And I understand that there are temporary employees who have no annual leave. People are supporting families in very harsh economic times. It's very difficult for me to sit by and say, even though it doesn't affect me, that it's okay, that's an economic burden. It doesn't seem fair that they've done nothing wrong, and that they're being penalized. That's awfully harsh.
And I can tell you, we had that very discussion among us before we made the decision, and we were concerned about that. So it wasn't made lightly. The intent isn't to punish anyone or to be punitive in any way. So I think the key now is that we get the library open as quickly as possible and get people back to work.
But that won't pay their bills.
Understood. Understood.
Very harsh.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to McPherson, 257 Center Street. So I've been a library patron for almost 50 years. I can't tell my age, but I worked there for 22 and a half years. I've been retired for 11. Library is really an important part of this community. And I think, if you don't use the library, probably don't realize all of the people that use it for a lot of different things besides taking out books, which I think is a very important part. Reading should be a very important thing for people to do. And so really, when the library was closed, it wasn't just people not being able to check out books. There were many other reasons. It was very hot on Monday, and on hot days, often people will come into the library and bring their children in for a couple of hours of some relief. There are a lot of people in Massena who can't afford to have air conditioning, don't have swimming pools. So they don't have cars to go to the beach, or can't afford to go to the beach. So they would come to the library and their children would play and so on. So I was astonished and shocked. There's been so very, very few times in my experience that the library's been closed, and this did not seem like an important enough reason. We had Elaine Dunfair, who has been interim director before, and has, for many years, had many of the duties of a director. She's there, and the staff has been there. They've all worked there for a long time. I really did not see a serious enough reason to close the library, and I'm really dismayed by that. The library in Massena has often been called by other people from other communities. In fact, the director of North Country Library System many times called it, the Pearl of the North. We have a beautiful library. It's a compliment to the town of Massena that we have such a wonderful library. And I think it's incumbent upon the town board to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do.
And so then my second question is, I think my 3 minutes probably are up. Yeah. I guess I would like to know what the qualifications that they're going to be for, to be on the library board. In the past, even when I was working, we had many wonderful library board members, but we've had some that weren't so great. I think one of the qualifications should be that they should know the library. They should be users of the library. If they aren't, if they don't care enough about the library to ever come in and take out a book, you know, or even, you know, to use any of the facilities that we have at the library, then why would they want to be on the board?
Right.
You know?
And unfortunately, in the past couple of weeks, we've lost some people that were great patrons of the library from the board. So,
namely,
well, I think Mr. Geiser was a pretty significant patron of the library. I think that Pam Lynette was, and I think John Acton was.
I don't think John
and Bob DeWine as well. So, and I'm not going to debate people, but honestly, if you get different opinions, that's fine. That's my opinion on it. And so, I agree. I'd love to have every board member to be a very active library patron. That's the ideal situation. I'd like to have people with some educational background and some business experience. Because it is a business, you know, whether we like it or not. We spend over $750,000 a year on our library. People say, well, you bring that up? Yeah, because it's significant. It's a lot of money. Is it too much? I'm not saying it's too much. I'm saying it's a significant amount of money. It is an enterprise unto itself to a great degree. So that's my thought when we ask someone with some business background, or at least some organizational background, that they're familiar with making those kind of decisions that are in essence management. The library board, in my mind, I don't want to monopolize the comments from the board here. The library board's job is not to be in the library every day managing day-to-day operations. That's what library staff is for. It's to set policy and make management decisions on the overall function of the library, the overall operation of the library. So I don't want people who are there every day and want to be involved with the staff every day. That's not a board member's job, in my opinion. I'd like them to be patrons of the library, certainly, and be very familiar with the library. But I don't want them in there micromanaging. Micromanaging is a term that's thrown around a lot. Someone is in there all the time saying, oh, you didn't do this, and this, I don't like the way this book cart looks, or whatever. And that's not a library board member's job, in my opinion.
I agree with that part. However, I do think it's important.
At Frenchie Selects, they pride themselves on having a better selection of pre-owned vehicles to choose from for their customers. How about this 2007 Chrysler Aspen Limited that was $23,900, now just $19,800? Or check out this 2008 Chevy Avalanche 1500 LTZ that was $32,900, now just $29,900. Frenchie Selects, corner of Route 37 at Parker Avenue, Massena, or visit FrenchieSelects.com.
Hi, I'm Mike Jones. We're here at StarTech Computer. We have computers, cellular telephones, and music equipment. We do repairs on most makes and models of computers, and we'd like to tell you what we got going on this week.
Smokey here at StarTech Computer. Today I have an 8 gig USB flash drive. Now these are great products for sharing pictures, music, videos, and whatnot with friends and family members, or you can just use them to store your important information in case of a computer crash. We normally sell these for $29 plus tags, but on this occasion, if you state that you have watched this commercial on WNTS channel 1501, that we're going to give you over 50% off on this product.
StarTech, where we make things work for you.
Director, Joe, you said that one of the reasons why the library was closed was because there was no leadership or no director.
No management.
And you had said that one of the library board members, or previous library board members, said that when Elaine was approached to be the interim director, she declined that, and that was not true. And I think we could have avoided the closure of the library had that been addressed.
There's one thing that I thought about after our conversation, actually, and is that to the children's librarian, which is Elaine's proper title, I believe, or librarian, I'm not sure if it's children. I'm sorry?
Youth services.
Youth services, okay.
Youth services slash.
Well, she is a member of the bargaining unit and is not a member of management. So whether she had served in that capacity before, was willing to serve now, she simply is not a member of management now. And so when the contract is finalized, which I hope will happen next week at the latest, she will be a member of the union. So when I said there was no management in place, she is right now, you're right, she signed, yeah, I assume she signed the card, yeah, she's a member of the bargaining unit right now. And so when I said there was no management in place, that is very accurate. There is no management in place because she is not management.
Let me say one thing too about that. All Elaine has to do is drop from being part of that union. If she's going to take on any...
I'm not even going to discuss that because I'm not allowed to discuss that by law.
But let me give you that food for thought to possibly be discussed in executive session, if you would consider that. Because she's talked with other people about that very issue. John Acton as one, if she were to be considered as director or as interim director. It's a very simple process. All she has to do is decline. So if you would consider that in the executive session, I wish you would.
I'll just make one other comment. There's no doubt the director's position is not a member of the unit. So whoever is in the director's position will not be a member of the bargaining unit.
But just food for thought for executive session.
Okay.
The other thing too I would like to discuss the fact that a lot of efforts were made early on for resolution in all of these issues that were going on at the library, with the problems within the board itself. I presented many of those issues to you during our conversation. And in particular, I reached out to two liaisons, to Chuck and to Al, to try to get meetings set up with them that I could discuss. And Al never responded to the two emails that I sent to him. I also sent, and Chuck and I already talked about it at a meeting, I sent two to him as well. One he did not respond to, and the other that I sent to him, he responded that he was, in quotes, tied up. And when I brought that up to at the meeting, he said if I wanted to meet with him, I could meet with him up on the roof, which was...
Lisa, that was my humor. Okay, that was my humor. Come on, for crying out loud.
But it's not a humorous situation.
No, it hasn't been for a long time. It hasn't been for a long time.
It's not funny.
I agree.
I'm trying to settle some issues. I felt it important. And for Al not to respond as the, Al, we have a history. I think my mom used to babysit. I felt very disappointed. As liaisons, I think that's very important in crucial situations that they come to bat and try to help settle these serious issues that were going on. We could have avoided a closure of the library had someone responded to efforts by a board member. We did not get that.
Maybe,
perhaps. But nobody made those return efforts. I also reached out to Steve Bolton. I reached out to Addie Russell. I went the distance. When I talked to Steve Bolton, he offered to come to our library board and meet with all of the other board members when Pam and Barb were on board, John and Rick. They all declined. Nobody wanted to set up the meeting. It was me against them, and I didn't get anywhere. So where was I to go to find resolution? And all of a sudden it comes back to me where I'm the bad guy. I didn't appreciate that.
I don't know if anybody's saying you're the bad guy.
I was charged with this crime.
Well, I'm okay.
I'm the bad guy. Okay, I'm not even...
You know, if I could stop you for just a minute.
Certainly.
I'm new to this board, but definitely not.
As I was.
Who are you?
I'm Robert Cunningham.
Thank you.
I'm new to the board, but I'm not new to the library. My wife spends an enormous amount of time down at the library, and she volunteers down there for all the book sales, and is down there quite frequently. So when we say that we have a great library, it's been a great library. It's still a great library. And for you to say that you needed resolution with the other 4 board members that helped create and continue on this great library, and you needed Steve Bolton from the North Country Library Association, and then we have mass exodus of an entire board, we lose a director, we have a total collapse of the library, that my wife, as I'm telling her this, she's like, well, what's going on? I don't know, it's total collapse. And that's all within a 6-month period. So you have total resolution, you wanted resolution, you reached out, the board is trying to do what they were doing, but you're saying it was you versus them? Are you saying that they weren't good board members?
No, you're not listening to me.
No, what I'm saying is that I don't understand why 4 board members resigned.
Okay.
I lost a director over there for a $750,000 a year. Okay. And taxes, hold on, the taxes were raised in the town of Massena, outside. They can't get their roads paved. Okay? We have people that cannot even pay for the prescriptions, and we raise their taxes. And I believe in the library. The library is a great thing. But what I'm telling you is, something happened over there. And there's only one thing that changed.
And that was?
We put another board, and I was one of the people that put you on there.
But
I'd like to address
we had 4 resignations. Have you asked why those 4 people resigned? Have you asked why those 4 people resigned? Do you know why those?
We've been given letters of resignation that state the reasons they resigned.
And what were those? Joe, we talked yesterday about those 4 resignations, right? And you know the reasons why those 4 people resigned.
You told me some reasons different than what a couple of them told me. I will say that.
Personal reasons.
Yeah.
And their backs were against the wall. I could go into those details.
Well, I would hope you would, out of respect for other people, I would hope you would.
There's some reasons why those 4 people resigned. I'm not going to be the ones, if I were guilty, I wouldn't be sitting here today. It's as simple as that. If I had done something wrong, I'm not going to be sitting here today talking to you now. I could have gone a long time ago. The staff people would want, this library staff would have wanted me gone. They did not want me to leave for many reasons. 4 people resigned from the library board, not because of me, but because of what was being done. I spoke, like as I said, I spoke to Addie Russell. You know, I don't know Mr. Cunningham, and he's virtually pointing a finger at me after never even discussing anything with me, and saying that there was an exodus of 4 board members resigning because of me. I have a lot of stuff I could show you, Mr. Cunningham, if you'd like to.
I'd love to see it. I would, and I am at your convenience.
Absolutely.
You tell me when you'd like to meet, and I will definitely meet with you.
Absolutely, and I would like to bring several people along with me to perhaps talk with you as well. That's not a problem.
Okay. Other comments?
Yeah, I do. I've got just a couple more. The other thing that, Joe, that we talked about too, as far as new board members, I had made just a suggestion to you about possibly forming an ad hoc committee.
Yes.
Just to be completely objective in getting new board members, possibly, maybe 4 or 5 people, objective people that could put, throw some ideas together of getting some good, a good cross-section of the community. I mentioned a few names that might want to sit on this ad hoc committee and throw some, ideas of some good honorable people to sit on the library board. And you said that you could throw it out to your board.
I promised I would talk to the board about that.
And see what they would think about it.
Just, if I may comment to what you just said, Lisa. We're not on the roof, so we're just sitting here talking to the board members. Cool.
Which I like. Thank you, Chuck.
With all the controversy that I've seen as a liaison over there, not controversy, friction, whatever's going on, I was pretty discouraged the night that all this stuff took off at the library, but I was encouraged this week. We had 18 people who have reached out to this board, who are avid readers, impartial readers, and that really, they want to fill the board and they want to be good for the library. That, to me, I was pretty encouraged about that.
Absolutely.
The ad hoc, we'll talk about it, but when I see 18 people that I haven't even talked to, because I know, I'm going to put this on the table. Everybody out there's going to say, yeah, they're going to go get the good old boys. Well, there ain't no good old boys about this. We have 18 people who have got a hold of us with the advertisement that was put in for the town. So I think that's pretty good. And we have some people from outside the
city. We have a couple that aren't, unless they're outside the town.
They're outside the township.
So you speak loudly of how important this library is to the community?
We don't disagree, we couldn't agree more. And we give no indication that it isn't important, I would hope.
And that's what I think I think as far as myself personally, I think that's what the whole idea of what a board member should be. Is somebody who's looking for the welfare and the vision of the library to make it the best library it can possibly be, and as Juanita said, get it back to being the pearl of the whole library system. Get it back into what it was once before and beyond. And
if
no
I may
personal agendas.
If I may follow up to your comments, Lisa, I'm not cutting you off, I just want to follow up because I'm starting to get forgetful. I'm starting to show my grit. Anyways, as a liaison, and there's been a constant conflict with the library administration and this board on who appoints. Okay? And my time as liaison there and as a board member here, I have seen the library administration and that board use vacancies, interim vacancies, to put people on that they thought would be good for the library. And to be honest with you, I'm going to tell you, all 5 of the people that were on the board before all this took place were recommended, or we checked with people from the library, and they said, yeah, they'd be good for the library. Okay? I just want to bring that out as an observation, because that's what we do as liaisons. We as liaisons bring what the town board is looking for, and then we listen to what goes on in the board meetings. Okay? And then we report back here to the town board. But that's been my observations as a liaison. Good, bad, indifference, make your own judgment out of it. We all have that capability. That's what I have seen as a town board member and a town board for whatever number of years I've been here, and the last, I've been in liaison 2 or 3 years, whatever I've been. I can't remember how many. But just to observe and put that out as an observation. Okay? I had to say that before I forgot.
That's okay. Point taken. Point taken.
Yes, ma'am.
Kathy Radish, and I actually work at the library on the library page, and I'm not defending Lisa in any way, but I think some of the things that went on last year were before Lisa came on board, the board, and so in all fairness, I think Mr. Cunningham doesn't understand that some of the stuff that happened and it never got resolved. Nobody ever came and talked to the people at the library as a group And, you know, we were charged, you know, some things were said and we were charged with some things that we were really upset about, and it never did get resolved at all. And I think that's part of what's fueled some of this that went on. And I think that could have been taken care of a lot better than it was. You know, like I said, I'm not trying to defend Lisa, but I feel like Mr. Cunningham attacked her, but some of the things where we're at right now happened before Lisa got on the board.
Agreed. Agreed.
Some of the things. I'm not even there.
I don't want to get in a debate over it. Again, I'm going to observe what I saw as a town board member, as a liaison. And again, I observed the friction. I was there, and I think the other liaison was there that night, but I don't want to speak for that individual. There was an apology for whatever this stuff that happened. Okay. I don't even want to get into what kind of apology or whatever. I don't want to get into that.
No, I don't want to either.
Just let me finish, please.
I just feel like...
Just let me finish,
no,
okay?
I don't want to do that either.
You don't want to let me finish?
No, I mean, I don't want to get into it because I
okay. I'm not trying to be antagonistic either. I know that, go back to where I was talking about, when all that stuff happened over a book and something else, again, our management structure, according to whomever was on the board at that time, didn't take the steps that should have been taken. The management, okay? So then the library board got involved, and I don't know whether they should have or shouldn't, but that's here or there. That's my observation. Again, I'm not a board member. These are the observations I saw. Okay? And finally, just before all this happened, and Lisa, correct me, I'm sure you will if I'm wrong, I think the library board was about ready to make steps to try to reconcile whatever those problems were that the staff felt, etc. I think there was a movement that way. And then you had resignations, sickness, and everything else came along. Okay, that was my observation as a member, and if I'm wrong, I'm sure Lisa will dispute me, and we'll go from there.
Chuck, I'm not going to dispute you, but when I actually...
Hi folks, I'm giving you the chance to swap your ride. The incentives to buy or lease a new 2012 Ford are at their best. Right now you can buy this Ford Escape 4-wheel drive for $265 a month.
Doesn't the Ford Escape get 25 miles per gallon highway?
That's right, and from now until June 30th you can lease the Escape for only $165 a month.
$165 a month for a brand new SUV?
Don't prejudge your credit, Ford is lending.
Make that test drive appointment today. Frenchie's Ford, 216 East Orver Street, Massena, or visit FrenchiesFord.com.
Ford, go further.
There's always something going on at St. Lawrence Center. What brings you to St. Lawrence Center? I love all the products and entertainment too. What brings you to St. Lawrence Center? Their prices are affordable. It's my favorite place to go to have fun. There's always something going on at St. Lawrence Center.
During one, and I talked to Joe about it yesterday. I was new on the board, and there was at one of the meetings, one of the conversation started about the animosity between the staff and the board. And I said, what the heck? What's going on? Because I know these girls. I go in and I adore them. I love every single one of these girls. And so when I heard that there was all these problems, what's going on?
And we were, and you and the other board members, I think John Atkins said something about it. I know I mentioned it because I happened to be there when it was brought up. I said, let's get this thing going.
Let's get a meeting. Why don't we meet with this staff? And Rick said, well, I don't really feel all that comfortable meeting with the staff. I would rather have a mediator or something. And John said, no, I don't think we need a mediator. Let's sit on it for a while. Nothing ever happened. And so that's when I went in, and just impromptu, I said to the girls, can we talk for a few minutes? So I went in and I talked to the girls, and everything blew up from that point on. And, you know, was...
One of the things, Lena, I am going to cut you off. If we keep mulling over what's happened, we're not going to move forward at all.
I know.
At all. And that's why the board needs to get a, you know,
I know, but...
In my opinion.
But the whole point was, it was never settled. All they needed to do was to go in and talk to the staff and say, listen, we screwed up here. Let's settle it. We apologize. This is over with. We're ready to move on. Let's build a bridge between the board and the staff. And a couple of the things that were mentioned when this so-called hearing was going to happen, one of the girls said to me, you know, what I would like to see is, you know, maybe a monthly meeting between the board and the staff, and we could go over, hey, what's bugging us? Yeah, just something as benign as that. You know, what harm would that be? You know, why does it have to be this, you know, wall between the two? This is a small town. Why can't we work together? Maybe I'm naive and don't understand.
I don't know if there needs to be a wall between the two. I will tell you that boards of directors don't typically meet with staff, any organization I know, because you have liaison in there, which is the director or the manager, whatever whatever. So I don't think it's a bad idea necessarily, but you know, the way things are supposed to work is if an employee has a grievance, they should be able to take it to the director then takes it to the board. Yeah. That's the way the structure is supposed to work. And when I spoke with the staff the other day, and I probably should owe them a bit of an apology in that I said we need to move on from here, and I wasn't anticipating a closure at that time. It wasn't a plan that I had or that anybody had. I'll tell you that right out of the blocks. I don't think there was any motive. I don't think that there was no motive on my part to hide that from anybody, because that simply wasn't in the plan at the time. And I talked to the staff about the importance of moving forward, and they said, yeah, we agree we should move forward. They felt that the change in the board was a good thing. I feel the change in the board was a good thing, quite honestly. And as you know, Lisa, we talked yesterday. I think we need complete change in the board. No, nothing at you direct personally. Let's start from scratch. Let's start from scratch and appoint a whole new board. And that's not because you or anything you've done or not done. It's just that I think it clears the decks and clears the way for us to start over completely from the board level. We'll have a new director coming on once the board is in place, and then we can go from there. So that has been, and I told you that yesterday. I don't think I'm saying anything I didn't say to you yesterday. So that's kind of where I'm at. At some point we do need to set this aside and move forward. And I think there probably were actions that were taken last year that weren't appropriate. I think there are things that the former director could have done to ameliorate some of that. It didn't happen. I'm not criticizing him. It's simply the way it is. And so I think everybody needs to get past that, as I said to the staff the other day. And I hope this is going to be, it's not an easy process. It's certainly not painless, as we know. But I hope we can get somewhere within the next few weeks where we're in a lot different place than we have been.
Well, I think we need to clarify that, too. I think that I'm speaking as one board member, not for the other board members. The goal should be to get that library back open as quickly as possible. And if we can get it open by the end of this week, that would be a goal that we would have. A giant step in that direction is to empower another board. If we can get a board selected, and again, I have to give him credit, soliciting board members and for us to have, we've also had refusals. So this is the plus, the 18 who have volunteered, and there's some top-notch people. If we can't fill a board from that list right there, then we can't fill it. But empowering a board is a giant step towards getting this library open again. And then the other process would kick in, hiring a director. Now, we agreed after much discussion, anguished discussion at points, and divergent opinions, which finally came together. Okay, We are of a mind that the most important thing is to get the building open again. But you have to follow the process in the selection of a director. Okay, we went through with our legal counsel to find out, we have been told, the town board who's responsible for this, have been told, well, you can't select this, you can't select this, you can't do that, and you can't do something else. He's the chief fiscal officer of this town. He's responsible for this. Now we have been told we can select, and we will select. Okay, and then that process will kick in. Okay, when you restore the command structure, we were told, and I don't want to go, he said, she said, this guy said that, this was done, this was done, no. We were told that nobody was stepping up to take over, and that's why the library was closed. Okay, Matt, I'm just telling you what we were told. Okay, so we get by that. It's over. It's all in the past. The book problem, it's in the past. 4 members have resigned. It's in the past. Okay, now we got to look forward. Now we got to look forward to this afternoon, tomorrow, and the next days. But again, our main goal is to get that library open as quickly as possible. Jerry.
Jerry, then Gary, Ransom Ave. I work for the library. I just want to ask Joe, I need to have you explain to me why on Thursday when you were in the library and you stood there and you said, I trust you people, I have faith in you to run this library, I know you can do it. You left there, Joe, we thanked you for your openness and your honesty, and then you turned around and closed it, and I don't understand why one day you think we can do it and the next day you don't. That was like a slap in our faces. I just want you to know that.
We closed it. Not me. That didn't mean single-handedly.
I know, but you were the one who came over and stood there and said,
yes,
I'm the kind of person that'll be honest. You can take my word.
And I still think
that was the word
and I stand by that. So, but the discussion, we certainly have no lack of faith in the staff there. That was an accurate.
That's not the way we feel today.
Well, and it's unfortunate if that's the staff's takeaway. I'm not saying I don't understand why you wouldn't feel that way.
I hope you do it.
But when I talked to you on Thursday, we had a meeting on Friday. Obviously, there was much discussion. I said very divergent opinions. We came into I think 5 of us came into the meeting Friday with at least 4 different opinions, if not 5 different opinions on what should happen at the library. And by the time we hashed it out and yelled and screamed and maybe swore a couple times, we decided that this was the direction we were going. And it could be that we were wrong. I'm not convinced of that yet, but it could be that we were wrong.
To Mr. Cunningham, I want you to realize that there are 3 people, 3 women in that library, not me, that are single mothers raising their children alone. Do you realize that?
Mm-hmm.
That is their only source of income.
And we talked about some of those people by name in our meeting last Friday.
Do you realize what you're doing to them?
Yes, and we talked about that very specifically in our meeting Friday before we made the final decision. I want you to know that.
Will there be any restitution for that or no?
We haven't discussed that at this point, but it doesn't mean that we won't discuss it.
They don't have vacation time.
Okay.
So, I'm just very disappointed because when you left that day, I said, wow, that made us feel good. We were all happy. We felt so good that you did that.
And I felt good leaving that meeting as well.
Yeah.
And
then the next morning,
I don't feel as well now, but not because of anything that's happened, just because of circumstances are what they are. When the library closed and all that kind of stuff, we made a decision collectively, and we're standing by that for right now. So we're going to see where we go from here.
Well, I really appreciate
At Frenchie Selects, they pride themselves on having a better selection of pre-owned vehicles to choose from for their customers. How about this 2006 Ford Escape XLT all-wheel drive that was $14,300, now just $13,300? Or check out this 2010 GMC Sierra SLE1 that was $27,200, now just $26,100. Frenchie Selects, corner of Route 37 and Parker Avenue, Massena, or visit FrenchieSelects.com.
have a business and need more than just a computer salesman, StarTech is your answer. We have 4 technicians available with over 60 years combined experience for fast, efficient, quality service. We've been serving upstate New York since 1983. We support local and wide area networks, and we service most makes and models of computers and printers. We have a complete in-house service facility, and we offer on-site service to most areas.
StarTech, computer, cellular, and music equipment.
Brought up the point that Elaine was in the union and that was part of the problem with her.
I don't know if
What
it's a problem,
happened a year ago when you hired somebody over Elaine who had all the qualifications?
Teresa, that was the board that was in place at that time's decision, and their recommendation to us.
And the board had personal problems.
You know, we can go here all day long. Now, let me tell you where this is going to go forward from here, in my opinion, with the new board. The process never got started because of resignations before, sickness, and then leases were looked like, okay? The process never got started. And that process could have very well been the person who works there or somebody else getting the new directorship, okay, after Lynn Fountain resigned. The process will start up again. We have 3 members, in my opinion, Joe, you probably know, we have 3 people who are on the list, top 3 people. We choose, the board will interview, they'll choose out of those 3 from the civil service list, okay? That's the process. That's what, right, Lisa? That's the process, right?
And let me take it a step further, and I don't want to drag Lynn Fountain into this needlessly, but I just want to say we had a woman who was a Massena native, who wanted to come back to her native, to her home community. She had extensive experience as a librarian. She was also an attorney. She was a member of the bar in Connecticut. So it's not like, she wasn't just Jimmy off the turnip truck, for God's sake. She had pretty amazing credentials. And she wanted to come back home and run our library. So the library board, we didn't make the decision, the library board made the decision. Right, wrong, or indifferent, you can't criticize her hiring in my mind because she was damn qualified for the job. And she was from here and wanted to come back home.
She was local and used for the library.
Who's that?
Elaine. Used for the library.
She's number 1 on the civil service test. She's worked. Nobody worked harder at that library than her. She was assistant director, did all the duties of director when Paul wasn't there. She's known in the public and liked in the public. I don't think you'll find, she raised her children here. She moved to Massena because she loves Massena. She is a Massena person now.
I understand that.
She went back to school and got what she needed to get so she could work at our library. That is dedication, and that is love of our library. Not someone who's just going to come in and decide they want to come to the library and stay for a year. What is that?
I don't think that was
She wants to stay here until she retires.
And I don't think it was right to put in the paper that there was nobody qualified. I mean, how does that make
I don't think we said
I don't recall
qualified.
that, Teresa.
I don't think, I don't think I used that term, that no one was qualified. There was no management person in place. I think that was an accurate, still think that's an accurate statement.
So this is part of our anger, so as you may see, this is part of our anger, because we think a grave injustice was done when Elaine was passed over a year ago, and she wasn't a member of the union at that time.
No, I agree. There was no.
So there was no reason whatsoever not to choose her. You know, isn't that kind of what people do, is they promote people from within instead of somebody from outside?
Sometimes, not necessarily, not always.
If they're qualified?
And on a fiscal note, Elaine was going to do not only the director's job, but the children's librarian's job, and all of us, the staff, and I was there so I can speak, we all said we will chip in with whatever needs to be done. And that, to the taxpayers of this town, was a gross injustice. Just saying.
It costs a lot more money to have this outside person come in and take this job than it would have been to keep Elaine, if we want to talk about money.
And that's what it all boils down.
Not if we had replaced Elaine's position. But that's what woulda, coulda, shoulda, kind of stuff. You had a comment to that?
Will we have to have a whole new board and a director before we can open again?
Oh, I don't think so. I think our thought is we need a board in
Huh?
place.
Okay.
Our thought is I think we need a board in place.
Okay. So then the other will take place, okay. I was just wondering if we had to have both.
Not as far as we know, not as far as we're concerned.
When you go into executive session, when you're finished, will you know the members that are going to be on the board?
I'm sorry?
When you finish the executive session after this meeting, will you know the members of the board when you come back?
I don't know.
Will you have chosen them?
I don't know. I think some of us have that hope. Some of us aren't sure we should move that quickly. We're going to try and figure that out.
Here's my opinion. For me, I know about 3 or 4 of the people on that list. I have not had a chance to even read any resumes of people, what their qualifications are, or as when I was an administrator, we got on the phone and we talked to people and make sure that these people would be good, qualified people, okay? And that's, unfortunately, in my mind, that's going to take some time. And unfortunately, Chuck Ray is going to take a vacation tomorrow, so I'm not backing out of that. The other guys might be able to handle it, but that's typically how I have been involved in a hiring process, whether it's been a teacher or another administrator or whatever. We vet them out, we go through and we check them out. There's a lot of people on that list, I don't even know who they are for sure. I know.
So at the end of the library's going to be closed.
I'm sorry?
If you can't elect a board without going through all that procedure, talking to them and looking at their qualifications, you could go another week without the library opening.
We hope that's not the case. And I think
This is terrible.
we'll have a better idea
I'm ashamed.
we'll have a better idea after we discuss things.
Yeah, it seems to me that if you've already narrowed it down, I'm one of the people who asked to be put on the list, is that nobody's talked to me. How do you know that those people that...
We haven't narrowed anything down yet.
I thought you had narrowed it down.
No, we have 18 people who come
Because
forward.
you don't know my qualifications, I've never met any of you.
Right.
And we've never kind of crossed paths, so I think it would be terribly unfair, and I'm not advocating keeping the library closed, but if it's a done deal, then that is the discussion we're having, and well, I'm going like this because I'm juggling. How do we handle this? We're trying to figure that out. So. Just a couple more things. I only had one to start with, now after the conversation. I am concerned that you don't have the legal right not to pay civil servants. I don't know.
That we have what?
That you don't have the right not to pay civil servants. They are state of New York employees, correct? Correct?
No, they're town of Massena employees.
Are they not civil servants? The state
No,
of New
they're
York civil servants?
They're on you're talking about the civil service.
Are they civil servants of the New York State?
No, they're not CSE or anything like that. They're town employees. They come to the civil service list that the county prepares, but they're town employees.
But they're not civil servants, okay. Then the other thing I wanted to say was complimentary. It does speak to the board. I was not involved in the library except going to the library and things like that. And my sister had worked on it for years, but I did work for a long time in Michigan library. But the thing that got me started on being interested in what's going on was a letter to the editor, and I said, oh my God, what's all this stuff? It really concerned me. And so I went, and then I was very, very disconcerted to read that the boards, not you, the other board, said that we were intimidating them. Since when do private citizens, whether they're members of the library or not like me, who show an interest to say, hey, what's going on, intimidate you? You have not treated us that way, and I appreciate that. But I was very, very upset that the idea of participation by citizens is intimidating. That's a wrong thinking. So the board wasn't completely in right frame of mind. They think that's intimidation. That's what we hope for in the United States, that we don't get enough of it.
Absolutely. I wish we had this card at every town board meeting, and I'm not easily intimidated, as you may have figured out, but other people will probably tell you.
Be careful.
That's fine, we can handle it. We've been there.
I'd like to wrap things up if we can, so if anybody hasn't commented yet.
Real quick question. Vince Perry, 19 Ransom, I don't know, important at this point in time.
Yeah, we need to, I'm sure it's good.
But you're going to go into executive session and choose board members. 4?
We don't know, we're gonna choose, we're gonna find out. But
Okay, you're looking at replacing 4.
we're looking at, I don't know what we're doing. We're looking at getting a functioning library board.
You have one existing member.
Understood?
Then you have to...
By default, I gotta assume she's board president?
I'm sorry?
No.
By default,
No,
she'll be board.
there'll be an election among the board, that's how the
Who chooses the board president?
the board, the library board will.
Election process.
Yeah.
The board of
And three's
the
what they
library
have.
board?
Yeah.
They need at least, it's a 5-member board, they need at least 3 members to function.
Have to have at
So
least...
your job is going to be just to fill the board.
Get them functioning.
Oh.
Will you fill the whole board, it's just the 3 that's required, and then allow them, as the normal process is, to select the others?
See, the normal process isn't right, as we found out. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about real bit, and we get a lot of stuff to say, but the bylaws are flawed. I never knew there were library board bylaws. I just found this out in the past 2 weeks. I've never seen them. There's not a copy in the town hall, I don't think. There's not a copy in the supervisor's office. How the hell, wait, excuse my French, are there bylaws in the library that the town board doesn't know about and it didn't approve? It's the town library. So that's a problem. So the bylaws need to be revisited because we know part of them are illegal. And that's the part that says the library board can fill vacancies if someone resigns. Mr. Bolton's attorney reference said, no, that's not legal. It can't be allowed. So we need to look at those bylaws, find out what they are, and make sure they're written and in compliance with the town board's opinion and the public's opinion, and that they're correct. And I don't want to get too far into the weeds here, but I found that when I took office, well, you can't do this because the library is special. They're under the education law. And so you know what I immediately said? Show me the law. And you know what? They couldn't. Because it doesn't exist. What they showed, Paul Schaefer showed me, were opinions from the Attorney General, 2 Attorneys General. That's nice. It ain't law. So we need to make sure that we're following the law, number 1, that we have bylaws that are approved by this board and by the community, and that we function in the way an organization should function. Not the way, well, we're special, we're this, we're that. Yes, the public library is special to some degree. This large public library is a little bit different, and it's completely funded by the town and its taxpayers. Some libraries have their own taxing district, their own taxing jurisdiction. We don't have that. So it's an educational process, I think, for everybody involved, and it's been painful. It will probably be a little more painful for the next few months as we go forward. But it needs to happen. I have one other point that I wanted to make, and this may not sit well with some people in the room. There has been an extremely close relationship between the library board of directors and the Friends of the Library. I believe to the library's detriment, to some extent. There needs to be a separation between the Friends of the Library and the library board of directors. Does that mean that members of the board can't be members of the Friends? No, not at all. The decisions need to be made by the library board of directors that are in the best interest of the library. If the Friends can help out, and and I'm not detracting from the Friends, they've been wonderful. They've provided a whole $20,000 a year they provided to the library. It's a great organization. Don't mean to denigrate them in any way, shape, or form. We need to make sure that everybody understands whose jurisdiction is whose. So, okay.
Can you not open the library with the people that work there that know what they're doing while you are going through this process of getting a board? Why can't you open the library and let them do their work?
Ma'am, I'm sorry, who
Then do all this.
Who am I speaking to, ma'am?
Jean Delia.
Hi, Jean.
So,
it's a possibility.
Can you do that?
It's a possibility.
That's what you should do. They can't wait forever.
Really, we have children.
Where were you when we needed you?
Probably need to open it up and let them
invite us, we'll be here.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Yes.
Joe, a couple things when you talk about the law, generally, and I think Steve might vouch for it too, is that most, well, not most, the laws are governed by the New York State education law. That's what most libraries, they're, governed by.
I keep hearing that, Lisa, but nobody's showing that.
Lisa,
If you go to that, just go online and read, and they have public library law there. That's where you can refer to and see that's how a library is governed.
Lisa, what your comment is taken, but we've also talked to our council, and we have found out there are 2 divisions of libraries. And Joe, Tommy, you might want to explain it better.
I'm not claiming to be any.
No.
I'm just telling you what
This is just what I found out, and since all this stuff has happened last week, or all of us have been informed. We own that library, it's town funded, and then you have free public libraries and there's a third one.
Right.
And we run, because we own that thing as a town, down in Massena, those rules are totally different than a lot of the things that's section 206 or something. Eric told us. And it's because of how they're set up. I know where I grew up, it was a free public library, there was an association that started it. I think Norfolk might have been the same way when they started, but I don't know. Anyways, there's divisions in there, and each one goes to a different set of rules, which makes it
I understand it. It's extremely confusing, but
these vehicles look brand new right off the showroom floor. But they're not. They've been detailed by Final Touch Detailing. If you can drive it, Final Touch can detail it. Trucks, boats, cars, and bikes. Well, Final Touch Detailing can take care of you. Their services include wash, including undercarriage and engine compartment, vacuum shampoo and steam clean, Scotch Guard treatment for fabric, leather treatment, wax and buffing, and much more. Get that car show quality detailing today with Final Touch Detailing. Call 842-9810. That's 842-9810. Or email odie7342@yahoo.com.
Jamie, what are we doing? It's the under construction event going on right now at Frenchie's. How about this new 2012 Chevy Impala LS that features a power driver's seat, OnStar, 5-year 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, gets an estimated 30 miles per gallon highway and more. Sticker on this one was $26,800. Now take this one home for just $22,700. You save up to $4,100. Smashing prices! And Chevy runs deep at Frenchie's Chevrolet, 255 East River Street, Massena, or visit FrenchieChevy.com.
Hi, I'm Mark Bogdan, Certified Public Accountant. We here at this office will prepare income tax returns for businesses and individuals. So if you have a C corporation, an S corporation, even partnerships, and sole proprietors, we can take care of your tax needs. At the office, we can prepare your payroll and bookkeeping needs. We offer full bookkeeping services and full payroll services, as well as assistance with preparing your payroll quarterlies and sales tax returns.
Twin Leaf Fresh Express is the smart choice for feel-good, fresh food that's ready when you are. The first convenient stop in Hogansburg when driving from Massena. A food court with free Wi-Fi and plenty of room to lounge with family and friends or eat on the run. Menu items with only the freshest ingredients. Wings, pizza, salads, and sandwiches with lunch specials posted daily on Facebook. And don't forget dessert. Over 20 flavors of ice cream, shakes, slushies, and frozen yogurt. Twin Leaf Fresh Express, the smart choice for feel-good, fresh food that's ready when you are.
What, who governs what, and I have no clue, but I'm just saying that's all, whatever I looked at and whatever I talked to Steve about, that's what we were basically looking at as far as appointments and, all of that kind of thing. And even in the library manual, and as I was telling Joe, there were all kinds of discrepancies in that thing, and it certainly needs to be, that thing needs to be really looked at. And,
good luck in the state of New York to change that.
Just general.
Dwayne, tell us who you are. I know you are.
Dwayne Wood, 27 Middlebury. That's one of your first comments to employees and their vacation. Is that etched in stone? Is there any chance you could reconsider?
It's not, nothing's etched in stone. We make a decision, we can
It's not a lot of
decision.
money, it's not a lot of people.
We can look.
It's not fair.
Please do that.
It's not fair.
Let's take a look at
If you don't do
That would
anything
be,
We're very sympathetic to that plight.
I mean, there are people get leave of absence paid for various reasons, which, for extended periods of time, and this is going to be hopefully.
The way we took that under a large consideration before we did what we did, that was one real tough decision for us.
yeah, but you could go without a
We
meeting.
can reconsider it, sure we can reconsider it. It's,
Believe me, we're very, very
Bottom line,
sympathetic.
just open the library and then do your work.
Okay, can we go into executive
That's
session?
the bottom line. These
Okay.
people need to go to work.
as do
a lot of people, as do a lot of people in New York State.
Well, of course, but we have to worry about these
And-
now. That's all. We're just worried about these
They didn't
now.
do anything.
I understand that.
No, we,
I understand that. Hold on, just give me a
Okay,
minute.
no, that's fine.
I understand that. We spent 3 hours discussing this, different ways we could get out of this. And unfortunately, this is what happened. Now, since this happened,
Fix it.
we're trying to. Now we've got 18 people, because we did try when we came in to get some people to go onto the board. People refused. Now we've got a list of people.
Open the library and fix it.
We're going to do it as quickly as we can.
Get the people back to work and then you can worry about all that other stuff.
Okay, all right. We got a motion to go into executive session and
Second.
thank you. We have a second.
Talk and talk and talk and talk.
Yeah, we got it.